You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to yet another live rant. Again, coming back more during the Road Rage gameplay. And again, doing some more Sunday Drive, this time with the nuclear bus. So there you go. What I wanted to talk about is there's a really common phrase, right, that everyone knows and everyone says, where they say, history is written by the winners. But there's a lot of people who don't take that to the natural conclusion. And what I mean by that is, with history being written by the winners, right, then we know that it's skewed, right, that it's got its biases, right, like there's things that obviously are recounted in a way to make one particular side look favorable in any given conflict or incident or what have you, and make the other side look as bad as possible. So that's just a common thing, and like a lot of people will realize that, and people also realize that governments are completely capable of lying. But at the same time, there's still a pretty big subgroup of like modern people who just believe everything they were told in school is always correct, and everything the government tells them now is always correct. So they're like, yeah, governments lie, yeah, history's written by the winners, but everything I was taught in history is always true, and my government would never lie to me now because we just magically happen to be born in a time and place where it just doesn't happen anymore. Even though, you know, they'll acknowledge that it fucking happens, but they will act like, oh, it can't happen here, though, which again is just itself another form of, like, normalcy bias, where you just say, oh, you know, it can't happen here, right? Like, it's just, you're so used to everything here being a specific way that you don't think it can be any other way. And there's a lot of problems with that because, again, there's lots of fucking shit that we're told in school, both about any subject, really, not just any specific one. But, like, for instance, when we were growing up, we were told the food pyramid, right? We were told, like, eating grain and wheat and carbs was all good. Now we're told they're all, like, horrible and awful for us. And now you hear, like, 30 different fucking schools of thought on what's supposed to be, like, healthy or unhealthy and all this other shit. And it's just impossible to try and keep up and figure out because everything's always changing. And to be fair, like, most of the food we eat now is just fucking poison, fucking shit with, like, all sorts of high fructose corn syrup, seed oils, and fucking,
ingredients that we can barely pronounce.
That too, yeah, like, fucking a bunch of chemicals and shit in them. But also, like, they also, like, everything has, like, microplastics in it now and shit. Like, everything is made worse now, and people will be like, yeah, we're in the best, most prosperous time. And it's like, are we, though? I mean, like, you can argue, like, standard of living-wise, you know, like, there's a lot of quality of life improvements we've had that are definitely better. I won't argue or dispute that, obviously. But the problem is, a lot of it's, like, surface level, right? Like, a lot of shit actually is worse beneath the surface. Like, culturally, everything's gone to shit. And culturally, just a lot of things are problems now. And a lot of things that we believed, you know, I think everyone is starting to question a lot of things. And I'm not getting into any specifics here, because, I mean, there are obviously ones that are specific, but that's not as important as the major point I'm trying to make, is that people don't think critically. They just think, oh yeah, you're not immune to propaganda, but also, hey, everything we're told by the government isn't propaganda. You don't even have to think about it, dude. Like, people just assume that if they were told it in school, or if they were told it by the government, then it must be true. And that drives me off the fucking wall. Especially since a lot of it just comes down to, like, partisan team politics, which will be the subject of another rant, probably in this same stream. They just think, oh yeah, if our side says it, then it's true. If the other side says it, it's not true. And again, the problem is, there's not really a whole lot of actual critical thinking. It's all just, this guy's good, therefore what he says is true. Or this guy's bad, therefore what he says is untrue. And I think that's a really bad mindset to have, to just think, oh yeah, my guy's right, therefore it's all correct. Don't even think about it. Like, I think thinking critically is really important. And I think that questioning everything to a point, like, obviously if you're like Nietzsche and you end up just, like, going nuts and shitting your pants like Nietzsche ended up doing, where he just started going crazy, and I use the term shitting his pants metaphorically, because, like, Nietzsche did kind of lose his shit before he died. And you know, he did say some things that were good. I like some of his writings and shit. Don't get me wrong, but I think the guy's also he went fucking nuts because he didn't actually believe in anything. He didn't have any sort of fucking like standard or it was just nothing but questions and no like it's all just like that's the thing is it's a scale. You can be overly critical too. You can ask like you can do nothing but ask questions and that's not healthy either. You got to find a balance where you can realize there are objective, tangible things that you can tell, and then there's also shit that you can easily be lied to about, because everyone who's ever talked to you ever has had an agenda.
I was about to say, like, I'm not one of those people that, even if, like, the government were to say the sky is blue, I somehow find a conspiracy theory against that.
Right.
But you know what I mean. There's a lot of shit the government tells us that's very obviously not true.
Right. And I'll tell you this, Bother Me None. Like, something I appreciate is you said conspiracy theory. Like, you didn't just use the word conspiracy, because a lot of people will misuse the word where they'll, like, treat them interchangeably, conspiracy or conspiracy theory. And the thing is, like, a conspiracy is a crime, right? It's conspiring to do something. That's what a conspiracy is. A conspiracy theory is a theory about a conspiracy. Now, the term has more colloquial stuff where it's not necessarily a conspiracy, but it can be shit that questions an official narrative in general. But the conspiracy in that official narrative questioning is obviously that the official narrative itself was conspired, right? So there is that, but, like, I'm glad you actually use the term correctly, because it's a big pet peeve of mine that people will misuse it and act like conspiracy and conspiracy theory are interchangeable terms. Which, by the way,
you're the one that taught me the difference. Like, I used to just think it was the same thing because, like, everyone else was saying it around me.
And that's by design. People do that. And the other thing is, conspiracy theory itself is a term that was made up after JFK to try and, like, demonize people asking questions and make people seem crazy, which is also really frustrating. And, like, so it's all in that kind of language is also in a way a psyop, you know. But I think I've mostly said my piece on this. Like, people will hear, oh yeah, this politician I like said this, therefore it's true. Oh, I learned this in school, it must be true. We're the good guys. You know, it's like Norm Macdonald said, you know, look in the history books and it turns out the good guys seem to have won every major war. I mean, what are the odds?